Introduction to LangChain and Language Models. Welcome to our course on LangChain for beginners. In this lesson, we'll dive into LangChain and the fascinating world of language models. By the end of this video, you'll have a strong foundation in LangChain's purpose and how it fits into natural language processing or NLP. Now, first, what is LangChain? LangChain is a powerful framework specifically designed to help developers build applications using language models. Now, language models are AI tools capable of understanding, generating, and responding to human language. LangChain simplifies the process of integrating language models into your applications. Whether you're working on chatbots, question answering systems, summarization tools, or even advanced recommendation systems, LangChain provides the tools and components to make it easier. What are some of the LangChain's core capabilities? With LangChain, you can create applications that utilize question answering capabilities to respond to user queries. You can perform summarization of long text, making information easier to digest, extract keywords and topics from text for content organization, and build multi agent systems where several specialized AI agents work together to complete a task. LangChain is versatile enough to work with different language models and can be customized to fit a wide variety of applications, from customer support chatbots to content generation and even financial analysis tools. Now, why use LangChain? For developers working with AI and language models, LangChain speeds up the development process. It abstracts away the complexity of managing and integrating various models, providing pre built components for commonly used NLP tasks. LangChain also supports both API based models like OpenAI's models and local models from Hugging Face, giving you flexibility in choosing what works best for your needs. Now that we understand what LangChain is and why it's a valuable tool, let's take a step back and explore the basics of language models and NLP. Overview of language models and NLP. Now, first, let's go through the introduction to NLP. Natural language processing, or NLP, is a field within artificial intelligence that focuses on making human language understandable to machines. Now, NLP applications range from basic tasks like keyword extraction to complex ones such as real time language translation and summarization. NLP underpins the technology behind virtual assistants, translation apps, and sentiment analysis in social media. What are language models? Now, language models are trained on vast amounts of text data to understand and generate language. These models predict the next word in a sequence or respond to questions based on patterns learned from training data. Now, modern language models such as GPT, which is also Generative Pre-trained Transformer, and BERT, which stands for Bidirectional Encoder Representations from Transformers, have revolutionized NLP by making it possible to achieve human like accuracy in tasks like answering questions, summarizing text, and even holding conversations. Now, how language models work in LangChain? In LangChain, language models become the core of various NLP applications. By connecting these models through LangChain, you can create a chatbot, build a summarizer, or perform sentiment analysis all with the same underlying model. LangChain simplifies the integration and use of these models so you can focus on building your application rather than managing model operations. With a foundational understanding of NLP and language models, let's move on to setting up our development environment so we can start working with LangChain. Setting up the development environment. Let's see what are the required tools that we need. So before we dive into coding, let's make sure you have the right tool set up. For this course, you'll need Python 3.7 or higher. You need a code editor like Visual Studio, Sublime Text, or PyCharm, or any IDE of your choice. A terminal or command prompt to install dependencies and run scripts. Now let's do a Python installation check. First, check if Python is installed on your system. Open your terminal and type the command python dash dash version. I'm going to do the same thing here just to show you. Open command prompt and say python dash dash version, and it says I have python 3.12.7, which is compatible from what we need, so that's good. Now if you see a version number above 3.7, you're good to go. Otherwise, download and install the latest version of python from python.org. Now next step is to create a virtual environment. It's best practice to create a virtual environment for each project. This keeps all your dependencies organized and prevents conflicts with other projects. Now, to create a virtual environment, use commands like python -m vn langchain environment. I'm going to go ahead and say, let's create an environment. I'll say python -m venv langchain underscore env, and it will create my Python environment. Next step is activate the virtual environment. With Windows, you'll probably say LangChain env scripts activate, but with Mac, you'll probably say source LangChain underscore env slash bin slash activate, and that will activate your virtual environment. If you see the name of your virtual environment here, that means your virtual environment is used. Now you are in a virtual environment and we are ready to install our dependencies inside this virtual environment. Now with our virtual environment set up, let's move on to installing LangChain and other dependencies. Installing and configuring LangChain, Hugging Face, and other dependencies. Installing LangChain. The first library we need is LangChain. To install it, simply enter the following command in your terminal: pip install LangChain. I'm going to do the same thing here. Pip install LangChain. Now, LangChain provides pre-built components for NLP tasks, making it easy to build applications without reinventing the wheel. So I have that done, completed. Next step is installing Hugging Face transformers. So here we'll install the Hugging Face transformers library. This library gives us access to a huge variety of models like BERT and GPT, which we'll be using in our projects. To do that, I'm going to go ahead and say, first I'm going to clear this out. And as you can see, the command is pip install transformers. I'm going to say pip install transformers. Hugging Face makes it easy to work with pre-trained models, so we don't have to train models from scratch. So that's done. Our next step is to install datasets. We'll also install the Hugging Face datasets library, which allows us to load structured data for our projects. You can do that by saying pip install datasets. I'm going to go ahead and say pip install datasets, and it's going to download our datasets here. Now with this library, we can quickly load popular datasets such as the Squad for question answering or IMDb for sentiment analysis. So now since I have everything installed, I'm going to clear it out. And next step is testing installations. Let's test these installations to make sure everything is working. Open your Python shell by typing Python. So I'll go here and say Python, and first I'll say import LangChain. Next I'll say import transformers. It's saying none of the PyTorch or TensorFlow greater than equal to 2.0 or flags have been found. Models won't be available, and only tokenizers, configuration, and file data utilities can be used. That's all that we need, because if we want to use PyTorch or TensorFlow, we can install them manually afterwards. And next one, I want import datasets. And that's good. So then finally, I'm going to say print all libraries imported successfully. And it says all libraries import successfully. So this means that everything was installed properly. If you see this as warning, don't worry about it, just a warning, but there's no errors here. If you see no errors like this, then congratulations, you're all set up to work with LangChain. Now that we have LangChain, Hugging Face transformers, and datasets installed, we are ready to start building our projects. In this lesson, we have covered what LangChain is, the role of language models in NLP, and set up our environment. In the next lesson, we'll dive right into our first project, which is creating a simple question answering bot.